found it. We found it. All right, so Matt Gaetz, he seems to be leading the charge, so to speak, of the mega Republicans in the House, trying to fight for this country and reduce some of the spending that's going down. So let's see what this guy's talking about.
Mr. Speaker, my friend from Oklahoma says that my colleagues and I who don't support Kevin McCarthy would plunge the House and the country into chaos. Chaos is Speaker McCarthy. Chaos is somebody who we cannot trust with their word. The one thing that the White House, House Democrats, and many of us on the conservative side of the Republican caucus would argue is that the thing we have in common, Kevin McCarthy said something to all of us at one point or another that he didn't really mean and never intended to live
lied
up to.
to everybody.
I don't think voting against Kevin McCarthy is chaos. I think $33 trillion in debt is chaos.
Facts.
I think that facing a $2.2 trillion annual deficit is chaos.
Facts.
I think that not passing single subject spending bills is chaos. I think the fact that we have been governed in this country since the mid-90s by continuing resolution and omnibus is chaos. And the way to liberate ourselves from that is a series of reforms to this body that I would hope would outlast Speaker McCarthy's time here, would outlast my time here, and would outlast either of our majorities. Reforms that I have heard some of the most conservative members of this body fight for, and some of the reforms that we've been battling for that I've even heard those in the Democrat caucus say would be worthy and helpful to the House, like open amendments, like understanding what the budget is. We have been out of compliance with budget laws for most of my life, most of many of your lives. And by the way, if we did those things, if we had single subject bills, if we had an understanding on the top line, if we had open amendments, if we had trust and honesty and understanding, there would be times when my conservative colleagues and I would lose, might be a few times when we'd win. There'd be times that we would form partnerships that might otherwise not be really predictable in the American body politic, but the American people would see us legislating. These last few days, we've suspended the momentum that we had established the week earlier, where we were bringing bills to the floor, voting on them, staying late at night, working hard. That's what the American people expect. It's something Speaker McCarthy hasn't delivered, and that's why I've moved to vacate the chair. I reserve.
Gentleman's time is reserved. Gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Cole.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I yield 2 minutes to my very good friend, Mr. Emmer from Minnesota.
Gentleman from Minnesota, Mr. Emmer.
All right, I don't know if we want to hear all these other losers speak, but Matt Gaetz, he's on point with stuff. He is on point with stuff. He speaks again. Let me hear what else he says.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield back.
Gentleman from Florida, Mr. Gaetz.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think I've caught the signal, too. The signal is for $33 trillion in debt facing $2.2 trillion annual deficits. And our fellow Americans may be watching, wondering, how does that happen? How does the greatest country in the world have a process so broken that it would be laughed out of the rooms in the halls of the state legislatures where many of us come from? Here's how it works. The law says we're supposed to have the very single subject spending bills that my colleague referenced in the summer. That we're supposed to have that and move it. But there's a dirty little secret in this town. And that is if you delay, if you hold the bills, if you make multiple contradictory promises, as Speaker McCarthy has done, and you back everybody up against shutdown politics, well, nobody wants to shut the government down. No one cheers for a shutdown. And of course, when people are backed up against shutdown politics, the decision calculus changes. So year after year, decade after decade, we break the law and we do the same thing. We pass a continuing resolution, then we pass another continuing resolution, and then it's either another continuing resolution or an omnibus bill or a series of minibuses that lump these disparate things together. The American people want all of us to take votes on single subject matters. They don't want to see these things all mushed together and log rolled. And it was concerning to me to hear of news of a secret deal on Ukraine funding that would have log rolled more money with Ukraine with our southern border. Now, how offensive is that to our Customs and Border Patrol, to our ICE, to the people that are suffering as a consequence of our border, that some of my colleagues are only willing to...
Yeah, we'll give you some we'll give you some money down there at the border to do your actual job and defend our country, as long as we can weasel some money in for our money laundering partners that are part of our proxy war against Russia.
Stand up and fight for our border if they could send billions to Ukraine to fund their border too. Well, I've had enough of that, and that's why I brought this motion to vacate. I reserve.
Gentleman's time is reserved. Gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Cole.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I yield 1 minute to our distinguished Majority Leader, my good friend from Louisiana, Mr. Scalise.
Gentleman from Louisiana, the Majority Leader, Mr. Scalise, is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank my friend from Oklahoma for yielding.
The gentleman from Florida.
My colleague says we've passed the strongest border bills in history. Well, guess what? Look at the border right now. We didn't use sufficient leverage in the debt limit or in any other thing to actually get results on the border. The border is a disaster, really something I don't think you're going to be campaigning on, that you fixed the border. Second, you said you streamlined regulations. What the gentleman from Louisiana doesn't tell you is that all of the regulatory reform he was just bragging about is waivable by the stroke of a pen of someone in the Biden White House. Do you really think you've got anything for that? It's a total joke. And then finally, the welfare to work that the gentleman from Louisiana said we got. The welfare programs that they said that they streamlined with their welfare to work stuff, they're actually going to grow. Because while they did work requirements, they blew out those programs with expanded eligibility. I'm real glad you guys didn't put work requirements on Medicaid. It probably would have resulted in Medicaid expansion. And when it comes to how those raise money, I take no lecture on asking patriotic Americans to weigh in and contribute to this fight from those who would grovel and bend knee for the lobbyists and special interests who own our leadership, who have, oh, boo all you want, who have hollowed out this town and have borrowed against the future of our future generations. I'll be happy to fund my political operation through the work of hardworking Americans, $10 and $20 and $30 at a time, and you all keep showing up at the lobbyist fundraisers and see how that goes for you. I reserve.
Damn, Gates is pissed.
Once again,
Gates is pissed, and we like it. We like it. Get pissed, bro. Get pissed.
with 3 minutes remaining.
To be clear, I tried to get one of the three podiums on the Republican side, and y'all wouldn't let me have them, so you sent me over here. But you know what? I'll make this argument at any desk in this building, from the well, from the chair. I'll make it on every street corner in this country that Washington must change. We have to break the cycle. We have to break the fever. And I would hope, truly, that the reforms that we are fighting for are reforms that would last and be embraced and that would democratize power in this institution beyond the privileged few who back us up against shutdown politics and Christmases and deadlines in order to achieve their objectives. Mr. Speaker, high inflation is on the verge of bankrupting American families. Our economy is breaking in half. A typical American family can't afford to buy a house in 99% of U.S. counties. Inflation is stealing more than $700 a month from working Americans, nearly $9,000 a year.
Wow.
Kevin McCarthy is the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and he has failed to take a stand where it matters. So if he won't, I will. I make no apologies for defending the right of every hardworking American to afford a decent life for themselves and their families, and we have a greater opportunity to do that and to build coalitions under new leadership. We have to rip off the Band-Aid. We have to get back on a better course. And Mr. Speaker, I don't know how this vote's going to go. Usually when a vote comes to this floor, it's pretty predetermined. And this one, I'm not so sure. But I am sure that we've made the right argument, that this place deserves single-subject spending bills, that we should have 72 hours to read a bill, that something that spends more than $100 million shouldn't be put on the suspension agenda such that we can't amend it, and there shouldn't be secret side deals made on a continuing resolution to lump Ukraine in with border security. That is not right for Ukraine or border security, because it fails to give either of those issues the dignity that they would require. But we can return that dignity to this House. We can get back on a better path. We can have single subject appropriations bills. We can set a budget top line. We haven't had a budget in this place since I was in high school. So let's get a budget. Let's get our act together. Let's get on with it. Let's vacate the chair, and let's get a better speaker. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back his time. All time for debate has expired. Without objection, the previous question is ordered.
Let's go. So Matt Gaetz is on one today. He is on one today, for real. He is hitting it. I forgot I didn't pull up the YouTube chat, so Prodigal Sons is in the building. What's up, doppelganger? I didn't see you stop by. Let me get the YouTube chat going on over here. All right, let's go there. Juan says he's always looked at McCarthy as Paul Ryan 2.0. That's facts. It's more like revenge of Paul Ryan, or return of Paul Ryan. But Matt Gaetz is on one, dude. He is on one. And surprisingly enough, did they go vote again?
On this vote, the yeas are...
Here we go,
On this
folks.
vote, the yeas are 216.
216.
The nays are 210. The resolution is adopted.
Ooh.
Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The office of Speaker of the House of the United States House of Representatives is hereby declared vacant.
Boom! Boom! McCarthy, kick rocks, bro. Kick rocks. Shortest serving leader of the House since the 1800s. Put a big L on that douchebag's forehead. Put a big L on that douchebag's forehead. So shout out to Kevin McCarthy and the other Republicans for not pussing out like they always do. The Republicans always puss out. So shout out to them for staying strong and doing the right thing for once. Shout out for doing the right thing for once. Apparently Donald Trump's deposition video was released. That's gonna be interesting, I bet. So what do you guys think about the House Speaker being vacated? Who should go up in his place? What should the outcome be? Should Matt Gaetz become the Speaker? That's a good question. He doesn't want the job. He doesn't have the votes to get the job. So they do need a Speaker of the House who's actually going to be pro-America. Pro-mega movement, pro-America first, and anti-Democrats. Savo Jr., yes. Yes, buddy, you got it. Time for Trump to step in. Trump as the House Speaker would be fantastic. That would be fantastic. Did they arrest Bowman yet? I don't think so. Is Bowman the guy with the gold bars? Is that who it is? They're gonna put Nancy Pelosi as the House Speaker again. All right, let's play this guy's clip because this is my guy.
Smuggling humans across the border. This
is my guy from Arizona.
is a serious time, and my mind immediately goes to the young deputy from Cochise County.
Pelosi means hairy in Italian.
Who 2 nights ago, while trying to apprehend a runaway vehicles smuggling humans across the border, suffered major injuries, transported to Pima County, where he's in a Tucson hospital fighting for his life. I'm talking about a border that remains wide open, where drugs come through the Tucson sector.
Hey, I'm with you.
The most
I'm with you.
gotaways, known and unknown, of any sector along the border.
I think Trump would be a fantastic leader of the House
Terrorists coming in.
because he would actually lead it.
People conducting criminal conduct coming in.
All right, this guy's too sad right now. Not in a sad mood to hear about migrants dying crossing the border. Look at the disdain on this guy's face, bro. Looks like you just smelled the shit. You lose, buddy. You lose. Fucking loser. Get the fuck out of here. You gotta go, my guy.